All right, so let's look at this guy. I love this. There's some insights I just kind of want to lift out of this. George Washington Carver, early 1900s. He was some type of scientist, highly educated, actually very intelligent. But he had a habit of about 4 o'clock in the morning going out in the woods and walking with God every day. We're going to hear some quotes about how he thinks. But ultimately, what's accredited to him is crop rotation. And so there was a problem with cotton depleting the soil of all its nutrients, and he knew that peanuts would enrich the soil. And so if we rotate, peanuts will enrich, we'll get a better yield from the cotton, and long term we'll get a better yield. But there was no money in peanuts, so he's trying to convince them this is what we need to do, and so he's working this out, and basically he goes to God and he seeks, okay, well, so how can I show them peanuts are profitable, worth growing, so that we can quit depleting our soil and have better cotton yield? And then he gets what most of us know, all of these incredible ideas from the peanut. Ultimately, like 300 patents, inventions, formulas, uses for the peanut. I love to think of nature as an unlimited broadcasting station through which God speaks to us every hour if we will only tune in. Amen. So he would observe nature and get insight into the spirit realm and get wisdom from God. God is going to reveal to us things he never revealed before if we put our hands in his. Amen. Are your hands in his hands as you are doing that thing, expecting the increase? Expecting that this something greater than what I'm able to do can happen here? You know, I don't really know where this story came from, but I love this story. There's a story about this little kid that wobbles up on the stage of a concert pianist's stage, and they're freaking out because it's all set just right, and the piano's tuned, and the maestro's getting ready to come out, and this little kid comes up, and blink, 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 and they're freaking out, and the maestro says, "Don't worry about it." And he goes and he sits next to the kid and just creates this incredible masterpiece around that kid's efforts. Yep. That's you, and that is your father. But you better get out there and start plinking. I never have to grope for methods. The method is revealed to me the moment I am inspired to create something new. Without God to draw aside the curtain, I'd be helpless. This is putting action to inspiration. I'm telling you, you all get incredible ideas, but most of us don't act on them. Most of us do not take the time to put into practice the inspiration from God that would change our lives. First and foremost, internally, so that we reflect the type of character of Christ that is within us. My prayers seem to be more of an attitude than anything else. I indulge in very little lip service. Now, if you engage in a lot of lip service, it's okay. It's just this guy. But ask the great Creator silently, daily, and often, many times a day, to permit me to speak to him through the 3 great kingdoms of the world which he has created. Now, this is his field. He's in this daily as his job and his education. So this is kind of just where his mind naturally is. The animal kingdom, mineral, and vegetable kingdoms. To understand their relations to each other and our relations to them and to the great God who made all of us. I ask him daily and often momently to give me wisdom, understanding, and bodily strength to do his will. Hence, I am asking and receiving all the time. But it's about the attitude than the asking, than the words, right? As I worked on projects which fulfilled a real human need, forces were working through me which amazed me. I would often go to sleep with an apparently insoluble problem. When I woke, the answer was there. Why then should we who believe in Christ be so surprised at what God can do with a willing man in a laboratory? Willing. Well, God, I'm willing. I'll do anything you tell me to do. Well, did you do the last thing he told you to do? Some things must be baffling to the critic who's never been born again. Ain't that the truth? When I was young, I said to God, God, tell me the mystery of the universe. But God answered, that knowledge is for me alone. So I said, God, tell me the mystery of the peanut. Then God said, well, George, that's more nearly your size. When he did seek God, he did get this. He told me, separate the peanut into water, fats, oils, gums, resins, sugars, starches, and amino acids, then recombine these under my 3 laws of compatibility, temperature, and pressure. Then the Lord said, then you'll know why I made the peanut. No individual has any right to come into the world and go out of it without leaving behind him distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it. Most people search high and wide for the key to success. If they only knew the key to their dreams lies within. 99% of the failures come from people who have the habit of making excuses. Start where you are, with what you have, make something of it, and never be satisfied. Do what you can with what you have, do it now. Doing that, are the little steps that you need to take to be disciplined and taught and led and shaped and molded. And you learn and you tune and you grow and you understand how the process works for you. If you do it now, you're stepping and you're engaging in this long-term educational, discipline-oriented process with God that shapes you into a confident follower of Christ, standing on His Word, making decisions without second-guessing every decision you make in your life. Do it now. Say now. Be still and know that I'm God. I think that's what He's doing. He's stilling Himself. He's settling Himself. He's going out into the woods. I've got this problem here that's going to affect the world, ultimately, crop rotation. And what's going on, God? How do I get to He's being still? And He knows. See, because He knows that God is a wisdom provider, right? What do you know about God that you're going to let yourself focus on when you're still? Like, are you still confused about maybe who God might be because of what you've been through? Or are you just going to wipe all that away and say, you know what, this is who God says He is. This is who I know God to be. I'm going to be still. I'm going to be still and focus on that is who God is. Provider, healer, redeemer, deliverer. All of those things that God has revealed Himself to be. You be still and you know that. And you don't let temporary, carnal, external stuff come in and sow seeds in your heart that are going to keep you from actually believing that that's who God really is. And you stand on that. You're basically just choosing to believe that God is who He says that He is, regardless of circumstances. And you will see the reality of that, and you will respond to Him. And that character of Him will be birthed and reflected back into this world in your life. So really, you don't even need to ask God for information. Just focus on who He is. Convince your heart of who He is. And this is from the Young's literal translation. How you interpret what this is saying in terms of how God relates to you tells me a lot about how you think God works in your life. The heart of man devises his way, and Jehovah establishes his steps. Most of you have probably been taught, you got your plans. God's going to do what He wants to do. Don't really matter what your plans are. God's going to do what He wants to do. You weak little silly little man over here, you're going to make your plans. But yeah, no, you know what God's going to, that don't really matter. It don't really matter what your plans are because God's going to do what He wants to do. You ever heard it that way? Yeah. That's wrong. Now, God has a way and a will that He wants that you might not be on board with, and you might make plans that are not in agreement with His will. But what this is saying is you come up with plans in your heart, and God shows you the steps to see it accomplished. Yes. Of course, godly, truth-based, word agreement plans. You come up with it in your heart. God shows you how to get there. Elisha, I need help. What do you got? Got some oil? All right, go get some pots. Let's fill them. It's as simple as that. What are the jars and pots that you need to go get and put in place and then focus on who God really is? Because He'll fill them. He'll fill them with patience and wisdom and love and kindness and joy and meekness, long-suffering, all that stuff that you need internally. He'll fill it with the holiness that is already in your spirit that spills out into your character in this life. And to increase even beyond that, He will sow into you so that you can be a blessing in every way and be generous in every way. Well, if God can fill every jar on the planet with one jar of oil, what does He want to do through you?